What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. Alright, I've got so far behind today because I was on public test. Swear to God, I'm still fumed. I am still kind of like, oh my God. You know, oh, wait a minute, I do need that. That's the daily. Oh shit. Looked like I didn't hit anybody. But anyways, I gotta get more transmutations. I've got to do a couple stuff. I'm just behind. So anywho, yeah, we're gonna see another round of nerfs, and you know, at some point in time, ZOS is trying to get people to realize things. It's gotten so bad they had to take matters into their own hands in multiple ways. It's not just crit that's being affected. Base damage has been, you know, adjusted as well. And you know, there's just, you know, the thing about it is, I still remember. Let's repeat, rinse and repeat. I came into a game where Stam and Mags were both wearing the same sets. They had the same Munduses, because they were twice born. The same traits. I came into a game where everybody thought the DKs were the only healers. I came into a game that I was persecuted for being a Night Blade healer. I came into a game that people didn't even understand penetrating values. They didn't understand diminishing returns. I came into a game where everybody ignored the laws of math. Okay? I came in to this hellhole of stupidity. I've been MMOing since Ultima Online, since the first, playing EverQuest, all of it. All right, I've literally have been around since the beginning of MMO time. Okay, and never, and fucking never, have I met a community that was so ignorant and so full of their own shit. Okay, I haven't. This would be some first for me in multiple ways. And yet, even under those circumstances, I have continued to provide evidence and proof. And yes, things have changed. Things have finally changed. Right? Things finally had changed. Alright? Things have finally changed. But it didn't happen overnight. And I had to deal with it. I had to deal with it very much so. So, when I got these fuckheads, the garbage seekers of the MMO world, questioning principle, not just fundamentals, even questioning fundamentals, yeah, I get a little peeved. It's like, I don't give a fuck if you want to disagree. Prove it! Okay? The thing about it is this. When I do a video, I'm illustrating something. Right? I'm illustrating this thing in front of you, hit by hit, adjusting these values as we go. Right? That's what I'm doing. When I stream on other tanks or other healers, it was a justification that the class could play the role. Right? It could do so. It could do so. Despite what they said. And now it's accepted across the board. But it wasn't always. And to this day, they still make mistakes. They still, after all this time, they still do the same shit. They put everybody in the same gear. and they keep saying, oh, this is this, when they still don't even understand the different values. They don't understand diminishing returns to its fullest extent. They don't understand these things. And then these same players, right, are still questioning shit long after they've been wrong. It's not about being right for me. It's not. I have no fucking pride in it. None. It's about educating people. Like I said, I was a former elitist. I was the dick of dicks. Probably the king of them. The king of douchebags at one time. And yeah, I was very much high on myself. Especially when I got invitations from the developers from multiple companies. Mystic, we'd like you to check this out. You want on board? Yeah. Cool. Awesome. You know what I'm saying? But I knew I was it wasn't good for me as an individual, right? It wasn't good for me as an individual. So what do? I had to walk the fuck away. I had to. I just had to. I got to meet a bunch of business people about maybe starting an MMO company because I've always called whether a game would be successful or would downfall and all these things, and I understand a lot of my background's business, and all of a sudden I got to meet a ton of investors and some people, local ones. That was a whole fucking whatever. But the biggest thing about it is I wanted to start a company just for the sole purpose of, doing something, you know what I'm saying, that was good for the local community and in the industry. But, there's a lot of behind the scenes shit when that comes to that. When it comes to business and money. But my point of it is I at the end of the day, I've always kind of had a just what I tell my kids? I tell my kids, man, you can't convince everybody even with evidence. There's still some people who think the world is flat. We still got that going on. Even if you have evidence, right? You have proof, right? You have the numbers on your side. You have all of these things. It doesn't matter. Some people are just going to always be ignorant. And there's not a fucking thing you can do about that. So don't try. Right? There's nothing you can do. Let it go. That's the best advice I could ever give my kids in life. Because just because you know anything, if you do know anything, I mean, we all can learn. There's a lot of things I'm not good at. My daughter's great at chemistry. I actually suck at chemistry. I am really terrible at chemistry. Right? There's a lot of shit I really suck at. There's a ton of shit. So I don't believe in anybody that people are without capability of learning, is my point. So I think everybody can learn something. Knowledge, Leonardo da Vinci said, even at my old age, I never stop learning. Right? So that's the whole thing. We always can learn something. But when it comes to this specific topic, it's what I did for a living. Okay? That's what I used to do. I was my background was business, and I worked with numbers and diminishing returns and projections and so on and so forth. And that's what I did for a living in a very young age. So, You know, there's not a lot of things I was good at. That one of the things I liked RPGs. I loved fantasy, type material. Like trolls and all sorts of stuff. I played Dungeons and Dragons, but one of the things that I could use my knowledge was in gaming. It's where I could use my knowledge. So, of course, I grabbed onto it. I latched onto gaming even more so because it wasn't just the fantasy elements that appealed to me. It was the fact that it was always a numbers game. It was always a numbers game. Even if I couldn't control it, in linear games I never had a lot of control in linear based games. I just didn't. The devs, they're the ones that put the numbers together. You're just the one chasing at all times. And in this game, you can control numbers a lot better, right? And there are always going to be pros and cons to that, right? You're going to have people who don't get it, right? So they'll follow individuals, and then they'll latch on to what they say. When these individuals just stumbled onto something, and then they think, "Oh, look what we've discovered." Why did you just discover it? You should have known. You should have already known. That's the difference. Like my builds and stuff. As soon as I seen whatever false god and whatever, it was Ophidian that had me whatever, and then I was like, I could replicate this, and I didn't realize false god. I was going to use Medusa. There was a way to do it. There was a way to do it. But I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to get false god. It's 8%. It's a solid setup. And it's going to work. Right? I'm going to have the most spell damage and weapon damage in the game. Right? And I'm going to have a pretty good critical value. I can adjust for that. Because the sets lead me to that, to that fact. Medusa bow. What the fuck? I'm always getting some weird shit. But that's the only reason I did it. There was no other reason. I was like, I can get more damage. Like proc sets, it's like I've always known like proc sets are good, but it's a fixed ratio. It's fixed at some point based on these factors, right? Where I can scale all of my abilities. That's why I've never cared about weapons, like augmenting weapons a lot. In some configurations I could utilize it, but a lot of times I didn't give a shit about augmenting weapons. Why? Because I was aware of the loss for people to justify the effect. And a lot of times I was like, that to me isn't worth it because it's going to amplify one effect, maybe two. There were certain ones like the perfected bow. Of course, its downside is single target, but I was like, but I'm losing on this end across the board because of stat adjustments, because those stats are multipliers towards all of my abilities. That's like, take a look at any set that like War Maiden. I think I have it on me. Actually, let's see. Yeah. Okay. Pros and cons. I can get this up to 600 spell damage. Now that exceeds 400, right? I think we all can concur with that. So here's the deal. It only applies to magic damage abilities. That's the kicker, right? If I use any spammable that's not magic-based damage, it's not going to amplify that effect. I think we all can agree with that. I think we all can concur, right? But if I lose 100, right, off of that to amplify all effects, then, and let's say I have 3 abilities, right? Just 3 abilities. I have to compare if it's viable for me to lose that extra little bit that amplifies magic to gain more, I'm going to gain more across the board because I'm using abilities that are not just magic based. Okay? You know, that's the whole what I'm trying to say. So like elemental damage on the destruction staff when we use force shock applies elemental damage. It's not going to be amplified by war maidens. Right? But yet, if I utilize that as my spammable, I know I'm losing it. But is it justifiable? Is it a justifiable loss? You know? That's where I'm getting at. Force Shock would actually amplify better with Julianos versus War Maiden because it does what? Spell damage. And that's a flat rate in which all effects are amplified. But then an effect like Purifying Light, which deals magic damage, would decrease because, why? It's amplified by the set's bonus. That doesn't take a genius to figure that out. Right? That doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand those principles. Yet, we have community people who still ignore those facts, those principles. They ignore the things that really do, affect their builds. Because it is subject to math. It is still subject to the laws of math. No matter how complex or vague it could be. And when I have to go ahead and once again, argue with ignorance, it's beyond frustrating. It's beyond ridiculous. It's one thing to disagree with an opinion. It's another thing to disagree with facts and math. That, when you disagree with that, that's just stupidity and what? Stubbornness to accept. Okay? That's no longer a boon to you. Right? It's not. Being reluctant is a good thing in life. I tell my kids, question everything. Question me. I'll tell you guys, don't even take my word for it. Test it for yourself. But here's the deal. When I illustrate base damage increase and critical increase based on base damage, that is evident in what I'm illustrating. I'm not narrating it. I'm illustrating it. Okay? There's a huge difference there. I'm trying to educate individuals. But now we have content creators who are still ignorant. You take the destruction staff passives, right? And we go in. I came in, people were using Resto Destro on DPS. Yeah. I had people putting AoEs on flame staffs. Right? Yeah. Right? But when we look, we see an 8% towards single target. We see an 8% towards AoE. Now, you can use, the flame wall for certain applications, right? Because of burning effect. But majority of the time, the rule still stands. AoEs to the back, singles to the front. When you weave in between, right? So it's every half second between effects that you're typically light attacking, Typically, that's where we're clipping or animation canceling. And then guess what? You're amplifying damage. But when you put daggers, you try to light attack, guess what? You lose damage and you're losing bonus towards your abilities. That doesn't go away. That doesn't change. Even when I used the sword and board, I did it for stacking magicka. I was taking a loss on what? This effect. Right? The minor vulnerability. I knew that, but I was justifying the healing modifier. But I knew that. If someone asked, well, you're going to be losing the vulnerability. Yes, I'm aware of it. Right. I'm aware of that. I was very much aware of it. But I was using class-based abilities, right, to stack statting for the shield. At that time, I justified it because I could infuse the shield, thus amplifying the effect. And technically, you can even put another divine on it if you wanted to and amplify the Mundus. But I was aware of the loss. You have to take a loss somewhere. And that's what we do in this game. We try to cut losses out as much as possible to min-max. Right? That's what we try to do. But in the course of the action, we have people who don't understand what they lose, and instead they just copy and paste what somebody says. And they're not really getting down to the meat and potatoes of what the numbers reveal. Okay? Like I said, I have always, if you watch any of my videos in the past, I have never preached having crit over 60%. Even if I did have it over 60, I have said the sweet spot's always been around between 55 and 60. Always. Always. And that's what I've always tried to help people with. Harold, what's up? How was your day at work, brother? I hope you had a good day. I hope you're off tomorrow. You know? But yeah, to say that I'm frustrated with people. Like I said, I made my mark in this game. It doesn't matter if 70% of the community hates my guts. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. When I came in, I was using Julianus with Nirnhone crafted in my endgame DPS configurations, while those dipshits were using Twiceborn Star sharpened. And I love throwing that in people's face. When I came into this game, everybody was under the misconception that Templars were the only healer. When I came into this game, that's a fact. Nobody's going to change that. Nobody. And that tells me one thing. They're not Elder Scrolls fans. They're not. Because any other Elder Scroll title you ever played let you do things that typically in RPGs you could not do. By fusing magic with weapons. Like swords. And, bows and shit. Shit, in Skyrim I had a bow that dealt magic, that had magic on it and shit. I'm like, what the fuck, yo? I mean, what fucking game has everybody been playing? This has always been Elder Scrolls. But math doesn't change. And if you want to disagree with anything, that's cool. If you have a point, make it. I've been corrected even by Saiyan, and Saiyan's my dude. He's like, no, Mystic, that was this. Oh, okay, yeah. So like I said, it's not about pride. It's not. I can even be wrong at times. But when it comes to those finessing of those numbers, no. When I sat down and I calculated, I didn't even have like anything but scathing mage. I didn't even have a piece of false god. Like I do the calculations and I draft. Am I at between the 50 mark? Now with this nerf, am I going to justify trying to amplify it over 50? No. No. I'm not. I'm not going to chase something that Zoss is going to continue to hammer down. I would rather maintain as much base and try to keep critical values, what critical values I have, to keep my damage at least above most people's expectations. And I've always delivered. I've always delivered. So, in that reference, I don't really, it doesn't bother me about people's opinions. I came back, I didn't have to redo my Mage Blade at all. I had to adjust a few things, put Slime Crawl on them. My first time back in ICP, we down Lord Warden in hard mode in less than 2 minutes. What's that tell you? Okay. Less than 2 minutes. That video is on here. I did it live. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. And if I don't cover certain content, it's not for everybody else's sake. It's for my own. It's very, very hard, man. It's very hard. I walk a very fine line. From who I was, and I'm still a dick. I'm still an asshole. But I walk a very fine line. You guys have to understand that. In my world, I don't look at people as whatever. All I see is ignorance majority of the time. When I go to my families, we have to talk about things that most people don't even talk about. Because some of my family are in very professional settings. And yet we have people that are walking around ignorant. And then you look at them cross-eyed like, what the fuck? And then you ask yourself, how? How? And I avoid people. Why? So I don't get into confrontations with people. Because I'm not the type to walk away from a confrontation. And has it got me into situations? Yeah, but it usually always benefited me majority of the time. Meaning I don't really care if people are like, I'm going to kick your ass, please. No, I'm so scared. I'm a cocky little asshole. I'm a cocky asshole. So... my buff's about to drop. Please tell me I don't have a full bag again. Should have checked this. We're good on this tune. But, like, the Vatron staffs, like, literally, I was like, if I'm going to use this, I might as well try to grab something up. And, especially if I'm going to use all rooms. I didn't realize until I, whatever. Because, like I said, I was just doing Vatron just for the fucking gear. I don't give a fuck usually about shit. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, what the fuck? I don't need Ellie Drain anymore. Yet, it's been out for a few months, yet healers aren't utilizing it. Don't ask me why not. Fuck. I don't know. I also got Templars still fucking using, Ellie Drain. I still have Templars dropping this, or dropping that, or dropping. Let's go. What's the hold up? Let's go. Like, is this going to affect, like, for example, this healer? Yeah. Is it going to affect Khajiits? Really? I mean, poor Khajiits are really going to get hammered. Because some people aren't even going to justify it anymore. And that to me is what's, you know what I'm saying? One of the sad factors. By the way, I got my lightning bat. I was like, I'm going in there. I had to run it like 3 times again. That's why I don't fucking usually give a shit about vets either. Knowing I have to fucking farm shit and shit, I'd rather take fast time, get it done, whatever. If I will go back in for vet, I'll do it, maybe. I'm thinking about it. If I get bored and I get caught up, that's probably what I'll be end up doing. Can we please hurry it up? Wait for it. Now. Bastard.
Seem to scare them off for now. Get inside.
I swear, man. I wanted to get that build out today. There was a lot of things I wanted to do. There was a lot of things I wanted to do, and I didn't get to do it today. Because I had to go in and just kind of shake my head like, it's not about the nerf, it's about the misconception that's going to come with the nerf. And then I'm like, fucking A, just, you know, I hate fighting with people. Believe it or not, I don't like it. I'm tired. I am a very tired individual, man. And this is the only goddamn game I've actually had to. Any of the guilds I was in the past, there was never a quite. That's the funny thing. I never had to, like, deal with this shit on majority of other games. Everybody just knew. Maybe once in a blue moon, we'd have to be like, why did you do that? And they'd be like, oh, well, I wanted you to, you know, increase my critical. Why? Well, so I deal more damage. No, that's never been the case. Yes, you're going to deal, you need to increase to a certain percentage, but when you lose base, then, you know, there was I think a boss fight, and there was like, they couldn't be crit, and the person's DPS was just so god fucking awful. I forget, it was such a long time ago, and that's what brought up the whole story. And I was like, dude, you never, ever, 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 ever stack everything into one stat. Has anybody not told you that? Like, you don't do that. Okay, great. We'll get it after.
everything we come across. I came here to study goblins, not slaughter them.
If you want to run on ahead and make a peace offering, be our guest.
Let's just take
Oh,
this
there's a heavy
furniture
sack and
and
there's
go.
the chest.
Hold your horses. The Raya also said we need to find the spear. Hey! Rat's moving again. I guess we keep following? Damn, more goblins. You go ahead, we'll catch up when it's clear.
Swear to God. I feel like I should never use a war horn on this boss.
Hold up. I think the rat's onto something.
I don't think so. It just makes me follow it.
Looks round enough to... Oh, there it goes again. Let's get these parts back to the fire.
Raya, you have your parts. They're worth decimating the local goblin population.
The articulator is
Shit.
completely
A couple
sealed.
years ago, I would
I
never
can't
been
get
able to
rid of it,
play this tune
But I might not have to.
in a dungeon
Meaning?
at
If
all.
I can channel enough energy through the
It
tone
would
of
have.
the
I would. It
vault
wouldn't have been.
it should
Nobody
lead
would
to
have
the vault door to
let
the
me.
twisted slab.
You know.
But I'll need
That's a
fresh
fact.
conveyors to manage it.
Nobody would have let me.
Toy rat through this door. No need to thank her.
You know. They would have been like, "What are you? All? The Sorks don't heal." You guys know that to be true. And yet, even after all this time, you all still question me. Even after all this time. After everything I've proved time and time again, y'all still question. And that's fine. Like I just said, it's good to question everybody. It's good. That's good. But when the evidence is there, then what are you questioning? What are you questioning that? You know? Are you questioning it now, or are you just being stubborn? That's the point. You know? I have no problem with people questioning anything in life. But there comes a time when you either accept for what everything is, for the truth, or you just are in denial. Okay? Like I tell my kids, don't let pride be your downfall. Because when you become too prideful or too whatever, you end up usually typically like believing you're always right. I like being wrong. God, I actually love being wrong because I learned so much. Like, my daughter, she's good at certain things that's better than I am. And there's certain people that's better at, like, whatever you do for a living, I can guarantee you, you're better at it than I am. I suck at mechanics. Okay? I wouldn't work on a car to save anybody's life. Okay? Just the facts. But, like, if somebody was to ask me about this or that, yeah, okay, you came to the right person. You know? How can I help you? You know? We all have our own specializations in the world. We all do. Right? You gotta stay out of the ice, yo.
How are we supposed to find anything in all this mess?
Trust the rat, goblin hugger. Let's get these back to Thariah.
See how the goblin...
I'm taking notes.
We have your conveyors. It only took murdering every goblin in this place.
Enough, Landau. You had your chance.
You had your chance. All true. Sorks can heal. Yeah, all classes can be take. That's what I do. Yeah, for sure. But, you know, when I came here, it wasn't always like that, was it? Even, there's this one really cool content creator I found. I forget the channel. But, like, he goes all over, like, the tanks for ESO. And, he covers all of them. You know? Literally. Like, Sork tanks, Orden tanks, Templar tanks, all of them. And I really like it because a video I seen, that's like one thing he was talking about was, you know, misconceptions of, you know, people's understanding of the tanks and their roles and what they do. And it's like, man, yeah, that's what I'm about, right? We got knocked off. gotta use this, man, to block those things.
Some of the vault's defenses are still active. Disabling them is too complex for Skeleton. You'll need to operate them manually. I'll guide you through it. There. Use Skeleton's ability to...
Look for an active magical container to tap into. It will force you. Did it melt to slag? Perfect. Follow the energy flow to any active conveyors and discharge the energy. It worked. Repeat the process on any remaining conveyors, and we may overload the defenses.
This one confused me too. I was like, what the flip, yo?
Something isn't right. The defenses are still active.
Every healer's different. And ZOS has come a long way with every class's toolkit, may I add. You know, that's one thing I'm really happy with as it's coming back.
Hold it off! I'll think of something! Keep your distance!
Who's that? Nice knowing him. I saw that happening. Oh. You bastard. Follow the light. Hey man, being in there fucking killed my bird. That's not cool, Zos. You might want to fix that.
Finally. Wrathstone. Not what I expected.
Hardly looks dwarven to me.
That's because the Dwemer took study it on.
It seems like part of it
Alright.
is missing.
Yes, it does. And I aim to find out why.
She's always getting into something, right? Why do you use encase over frags? What Encase does, okay. So, it's a CC, but what it does, even if it doesn't hit, it applies my buff. Because it doesn't need to root, it just needs to hit it. So, bosses are immune. Okay. So, bosses are immune to Restraining Prison. Okay, I'm going to get Shattering. I did it for the Major Vitality for a minute because it gives me increases my self-healing. But then I was like, it's kind of a little selfish. I'm going to be good, so I'll get the Shattering one for this tune. But it doesn't, like, what ends up happening when I utilize a dark magic ability, I buff my teammates with this. So this goes up with the exploitation. When you cast a dark magic ability, okay, so it's a CC effect on mobs, and that's pretty much why I use it. I could use Daedric Mines too, but yeah, you have a CC effect, So basically, when the tank grabs everything up, sometimes he's trying to gather. So what he's gathered, I could CC it. I can use any of the abilities, but I much like the CC because that's what I use on a tank. I use this one. I use the vitalization on my tank. But as a healer, I just want to cast it to buff my teammates. Then I also buff them with my ward, with my shield. I use the empowering ward, so it gives them the minor intellect. So I don't need a set like Worm. So I don't need Worm on this tune. So I've covered my buff, my sustain, off balance, which is minor vulnerability. I've covered the Ellie Drain. I'm using Lightning Vat so I can even deal damage while I'm doing that. And then, of course, my aggressive. I have my Absorption Field, which is a silence, but it also heals when people are in it. So that's my class heal, ulti. Energy Orbs, Combat Prayer, Springs. And then my Power Surge applies heal when activating a critical heal causes to do an additional heal. So I get a double heal effect. Now I don't have to use the critical healing, but I'm using a critical healing set, a critical heal set. So I'm taking advantage of it. And when I activate it, it increases my healing effects anyways. So it's pretty much why I utilize it. Why do I use that morph of Healing Springs? It is a morph. Healing Springs is a morph. It gives me recovery for everybody healed. This is a morph. So anywho. Alright. But it is a morph. I just use it for extra recovery. Switching. But yeah. Really, But it's like over and over and over again. It's like, what does Mystic know? Like, what does Mystic know? I'm the one that Stam healer. God. Holy shit. It's like sometimes, man, this community, they still don't ask the question. The question. You guys do. You guys know. And I thank you for that. But majority of them don't ask the question. What can't I do in this game? That's the question. That's the question that'll challenge players. That's the call. That's what I call the calling in this game. When you ask yourself that question, that's the calling. You're not just a player in Elder Scrolls. You are a significant individual because now you're removing the restraints. Right? You're removing them. You're like, I'm not going to be, confined by misconceptions. I'm not going to let these, people who didn't even know any better about any class or any role dictate anything to me. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do whatever it takes to, up my game, my experiences. There's a lot of things I hope come to fruition, like hybrid class. I would love to see hybrid class, at some point in Endgame. I would love it. Besides a tank or, whatever. This is somewhat of a hybrid, but it's not, I scale my stamina heals, but I still need magic to cast certain things, But at the end of the day, if people elevate their thinking, right? If they start questioning themselves instead of everybody else, then you elevate the capabilities of your mind. It's not everybody else you have to question. It's your capabilities. In life, I've always said, the real person who's holding you back is not everybody else. It's yourself. You have to question yourself at all times. When you question yourself, right, then you challenge yourself. You challenge your own knowledge. And you're actually trying to grow and have those experiences firsthand. For real? I need... Yeah, no, I got it. My daughter. I have people in life. You know, I find it hilarious. Really? Can we skip it? Skip it. No. New player.
By
All
the
right.
ebony blade, this is it. We found the shrine.
What is the question? Fucking idiot. Oh, Fungal Grotto, yeah. I'm farming up transmutations. I wanted to have this done earlier, but tens. Can't beat it, man. It stacks so fast. It comes flying in, man. It's like detrimental for me. Like, so detrimental. And I was hoping to have it done earlier. You know? But it is what it is. I just feel like the biggest thing I've seen is just repeated stupidity. Just stupidity. In this game, and ignorance. Here's the thing, I stream it, you know, it's like, you know, man, fuck it, you know. I don't care. You know? You can't fix stupid. You just can't. So, you know. I walk away though. I'm gone for 2 years, and it really actually doesn't surprise me that mass stupidity is apparent in the community. Still. It's like, what the fuck? Here's my thing. I actually probably wouldn't even give a fuck if people would actually educate people. You know? Educate these people. Educate them. Try that. Try actually explaining why you do it that way. Try to explain, you know, the relevance and how it's affecting other scenarios. But most people can't. They're just like, oh, because in essence, they don't know. They honestly don't know. And that is my problem.
The right tool.
It's one thing to teach people bad habits, another thing to actually, you know, spread stupidity amongst the masses. You know, that's where I get at. I already got that. Infused. I'll get rid of that sergeant's stuff. Let's drop these ones. And I'm always picking up the quest just in case. I want to get at least 100 tonight. I'm up, what? How many do I have? 70 or 80? Need 3 more.
Did you get it?
Guild requests
Did your
your help.
invitation arrive?
Alright. Still have yet to put pots on this dude.
Listen.
Okay.
There's an urgent task for you.
Oh my, oh my. Oran, sure you can. A 2x4 works well. Don't encourage me. We can always teach him with a big hammer. Yeah. Oh my God. You know, I have gotten into some conflicts over people. The funny thing about it is, like physical not like with 2x4s or anything. But somebody's like, oh, you're such a good. And it's like, dude, seriously, please don't. Oh, I'm like, no, I'm saying it for your benefit, not mine. And then I get into these confrontations, and usually goes bad for them, and then I'm getting scolded by somebody in my life. What the fuck were you thinking? And that's why I tell my kids, please don't. It's not worth it. It's not. Don't do it. So, I mean, Orin, I don't know if you got to see that test, man, but Dude, you've been in MMOs as long as I have. I mean, I'm sure a part of you was giggling when I went off. Like, oh, Mystic, he's gonna fucking flip a lid with these people who don't understand that and all those numbers. I'm like, what the fuck? Who the fuck? Because I don't know. I don't watch a lot of them, man. Unless somebody tells me something. And I haven't even got to check out everybody. I've checked out a couple of PvP, or I'll look up something, because I don't want to copy people's builds or take credit for something that somebody else had thought of prior to me. I'm kind of really, a big thing on that. There are certain things that I don't want to initially take credit for. But yeah, I believe you guys know I'm going to take credit if I discovered something. If I figured something out, I'm going to be like, look what I found out. Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah, I'm partying. I'm like, yeah. I'm eating it up. We're live. Oh, dude got stomped. I got it. Keep that thing away from me. Okay, it's on me. What the fuck, yo? I like these new dungeons, though. Well, I mean, some of these aren't new, but... Like when Warden Healing came out, I really liked a lot of it. There were certain things I kind of wish was slightly different, but for the most part, I really did, come on down to it. My dude, thank you, Leda. Hope you're having a good afternoon. I definitely, I have a temper in life. I have a real bad. I get triggered very easily. My doctor's like, if you never stayed in such good shape, you'd probably be dead by now. And I was like, yeah, let's hope I don't live too long. She's like, oh my God. I went to school with my physician.
Stop those intruders! Now, kill!
She's like, Gary, you need to stop it. I was like, what?
Disgusting intruders. I won't have it. I will not have it. Beast! How dare you soil my refuge? Crush them! Heed my call. Disgusting interlopers. You think summoning is all I can do?
Why not come down and show us, hag?
Brought a beast of your own. She will die soon enough.
Cowardly witch. We've got them on the back foot. Let's keep the pressure on. Come on.
Yeah, man, I swear. Getting too old. I'm getting way too old to have to keep explaining stuff to people, man. There's a part of me that says, I should just let it go and just let them be stupid and me rolling in and they'll be like, what the fuck? Like, that's how it worked the first time. What the fuck are you running? Your mama? What? Your mama, man. That's my build. I get all fucking smart ass. Let me guess, twice born star? Yeah, cause it's best. Yeah, okay, well, you good luck with that. You can keep rolling that shit. Yeah, sure. I won't, but go ahead, man. And I still laugh because I love rewinding time and watching them all do it. I'm like, God, man, I love it. I love it so goddamn much. I love it when they were like, oh, this class is this tank and this class is this healer. God, I love rewinding their fucking videos. Stop believing bullshit. Time and time again, I've proven. I'm like, I don't need to prove anything. I've made my mark in this game. And you all have adapted to who? That's right, me. And you always. What's my proof? Your conversion. So proud.
Think you can lock
Oh, I'm
me
not.
out?
I should.
I'll knock that pretty head clean off your shoulder.
Pride is definitely. That shit's broken. And that shit's broken.
I'll hold up the reach
And
of this
I. Lie. I should be collecting keys. Oh well. I don't give a fuck. I just want to get in and out.
Ah, the castaways. Pity you had to come all this way only to die at our hands. Come, sisters. Let's
Come,
put an
sisters.
end to their sad tale.
Go, man.
Good. Cool down our fists, won't you? Easy! Burn them all! Buddy, give these fools a taste of the dark arts. Set a fire in their soul! Fight the Ugly Sisters! Let me channel your power! Scatter them to the winds, Gola! Gola! Easy! Panic! Listen! Your power flow! They seek dead body! Give it to them! I reach sister keeping strength! Listen! Unleash your thunderbolts!
All dead. Damn. I scattered their wicker-clad lackeys, but I really wanted to crack at those hags. Oh well. I heard them prattling on about some ally. A shadow partner of some kind? Look here. They
Come on.
inscribed part of the ritual on this scroll, but just a part. Huh.
Whatever, Lyris.
This might just be the beginning of something. A magic... Well, I'm gonna make... I wish I could say I was excited to go...
Alright. All the time. How sad my life is? No, I've actually been pretty blessed. To say the least. I got 3 girls. 3 daughters. I love them to death. I got 3 grandkids. I'm well liked in my community, because I'm a pretty upstanding guy, so everybody's always talking to me, and I try to get along with everybody for the most part, in my life, and I was fortunate to have opportunities when I was younger and experiences, good and bad, and you learn. It's a learning experience, so I don't see it like that. Sometimes I never anticipated certain things that had happened that I wish would had been different for sure. But I've always said, sometimes there are hidden blessings, even in the most unfortunate of circumstances. So, at one time, if things didn't happen to me the way they did, I probably would have been really bad. Like, I'm talking like insanely wealthy, but an asshole in every conceptual way possible, even worse than I am. And because I was already egotistical, I was very jaded, when I was younger. I didn't try to chase women. Like, they just like, hi, hi. I'm like, oh, hi, hi. I was very much an ass. I was an asshole. You know? I was the epitome of jerk. You know? And I was, you know, and then God's like, let there be girls. And I'm like, My sister-in-law laughed her ass off when my last daughter was born. I'm like, please let it be a boy. Please let it be a boy. Please let it be. It's a girl. It's a girl. It's a girl. Karma. I'm like, oh. I was just like, oh shit. I love my daughter, but you know, it was, you know, oh yeah. So,
Listen,
you know, it was just funny, man. I've done, you know, I've done, sometimes they didn't even do anything. You know, like one time I come out of like somewhere and some chick Big Mac'd my entire car. Graffitied my car in Big Mac's. They're like, what'd you do? I'm like, I didn't do nothing to that one. I swear to gosh. I didn't do anything this time. I promise. Graffitiing my car at Big Mac's. I was like, what the fuck? There was lettuce everywhere, Big Mac sauce, burgers on my antenna. I go to the office because I was the youngest. And I took my friends up there, and they go up there and they see Jags, Porsches, and all this stuff. They're like, you work here? And I'm like, yeah, these are my colleagues. And, you know, I had a Thunderbird, and I thought it was, you know, whatever. I was the bottom of the toll pole, and they're like, and you're still driving? I'm like, shut up, get off me. So had things progressed, I probably would have been worse, you know, in some ways. So I always tell people money isn't everything, and you know, it's crazy. So, man, I was just in here. You guys notice something different with this tune? I'm not running a lightning staff. I don't need to. I get the minor vulnerability with the totem. So I don't need the wall to apply the off balance. So now I can shield. Delty, I'd like to thank you for that idea. I would never do it on everybody else. But I'm like, you know, I could do that with the Necro. I could pull that off the Necro. I can actually pull that off with the Necro. Go figure. Tanks will still use it. I'll still use my ice staff. But, you know, to keep the bitter up. And to still have a ranged shield system. It's pretty ingenious. The Delta is the one who gave me that idea. I was like, I like the idea. You could do like one with the lightning and have a, you know, a healer with it, because it's, if the tank's on whatever and the off tank, you know, you still apply brittle, you know. But usually both tanks have it. I'm like, I just can't incorporate it on everybody because, you know, they have to use, you know, minor vulnerability. I will never give it up. So, and then I looked and I was like, wait a minute. I don't need it. On this dude. I don't need the lightning wall. I always told everybody, even if I use different sets, or same sets, I will configure every one of my healers different, based on their strengths and weaknesses. Always. But it's Delta that gave me that idea, because he was using the night staff, and I'm like, man, I wish I had the balls to do it. I mean, and then I was theorizing, I was like, you know, technically, if I was in a trial scenario, you only need like one person to run a wall for the minor, because you can get minor vulnerability different ways. You could get away with one of the healers running it. So I was like, but you know, I couldn't do it. You know, it's just me. You know, I'm like OCD in that essence. You know, and then I was like, but wait a minute. You know, I could pull this off with the Necro. Yeah, totally. I was like, yeah. So, like I said, I don't take credit, but whatever. But Delta is the one that actually kind of gave me that idea. Because I like where, like tanks I use it on my tanks all the time. I go Frost Sword and Board. I don't deviate from that. Just for resource management purposes. But, once, once I could, you know, justify it, I was like, you know, I'm actually going to have Deltia's back on this one. You can do it. Technically, you can do it. There are ways to implement it. So see, this thing does see like potential in different scenarios. There's more than one way to skin a cat and still get everything applied. And I like it, actually. I thought it was pretty cool. I would have put it on all my healers. You know. My Warden, technically I could too, because I could use flies, the Fetcher flies. It would cost stamina. You know. I'd have to take a look at the mag version, but I think it's only I'd have to check. But it's only single target. And on the Necro, it's an AoE. The same thing with the wall. That's why I could do it. And mind you, this only protects against range damage, but still, I was pretty impressed, and it's pretty significant. I'll show you guys here in a second. But the brittle gets applied, so a nice debuff. You know, and especially if the tank doesn't have it. Like, my tanks will typically have it. So... So, let me show you guys.
By the ebony blade, this is it.
I got this wall to 6-4. Right? And then 3-1 currently. Which is really kind of cool. I was like, God, that's kind of cool. That's actually kind of cool. Normally I couldn't pull it off, but you do so good when you do PvE stuff. Thanks, Jackson. I appreciate that, brother. And God laugh. Yeah, and he did. And he did. And he did. And he did, Oren. Thank you. Thank you, Jackson. You know, thank you. I appreciate that, man. You know, it there for the longest time, man. It was really hard on me, you know, for when I did PvE stuff in other games, because you get to a certain point and you know, like I said, it afforded me opportunities to like test for companies and, you know, whatever. But you're always, it's just sometimes, man, you bang your head off the wall, and you know. And with this community, I've had more than my fair share of banging my head against the wall over and over and over again. You know, I've had more than my fair share of it. But, you know, it's kept me in perspective, too. You know, it's kind of kept me humble. Because that's why I had to do it. I had to walk the fuck away. Because my attitude in other games was just so wrenching. I'm like, yeah, like, what do you got, motherfucker? Like, what? I was them, but worse. I was worse than them. Because it was just stupid, man. You know? Did I do my tank? Did I do my tank? This dude needs level. Let me check. But yeah, I mean, I felt like I walk that fine line. I do. I'm just like, I can't let my ego. It's not about my pride. It's about my ego. Get away from me. That's what I've got to hold in check. You know. And then because I don't think I'm all, yeah, I did. I don't think I'm all that. But there was a time that because you get to a certain point, you believe it. You start believing that bullshit. And it's not the case. And that was a hard lesson. That was a huge piece of humble pie that had to be shoved down my throat. Right? That huge piece of friggin' humble pie that I had to swallow. I don't know if I did this one or not. I think I got most of them. I don't think I did this tank. We'll check. But I always think that we all have something to contribute in life. And I shouldn't demean people at any capacity. And yet I still have to try to not let myself get to a certain point. And yet people aggravate me to a point that and I'm like, fuck, Mystic, calm down. Dude, put yourself in check. Put yourself in check, dude. You're getting carried away. You know? Yeah, I did it on this tune too. I could do one of the other tanks. I know I didn't do it on the Warden. But I only need 10 more. I need to transmute 2 more items. I know I did this tank, I think. I don't think I did my Warden. I don't think. But there's a lot of nerfs coming in. A lot of nerfs coming in. And Zoss has every right to do it. Alright? I know the community is not going to be happy about it. But I think it'll put people into perspective. Because progression in this game differs than other MMOs. We don't have weekly lockouts. And all I see are from one egomaniac. And literally, I could probably say I was an egomaniac at one time. Is all I see are egos. People trying to maintain their ego. And that's not worth it. It's not. It's not worth holding on to. You know, it's as bad as pride, maybe even worse. Right? Pride I lost a long time ago. I gave that fucker up a long. What happened in my life? I had to let go of pride.
There's an urgent task.
I didn't have a choice. But my ego was a continuing battle. Right? Because even though my life had changed so much, like I had a problem letting go of anything I could accomplish because I was an overachiever, you know? No matter what I got myself into, that's what I still struggle with that because I get scared because of my attitude. That's not cool. It's actually not fucking cool at all. Because it starts inflating your ego. Like, literally, I'm always getting DLCs, man. This is the one I haven't done as a tank. I gotta remember that first boss, the tank kept it, like, kind of off to the side. So, it's a learning experience, I guess. But the biggest thing for me, like I said, is just realizing I'm not perfect. Nobody is. Nobody's perfect. And none of it was funny because none of my exes would actually give me a compliment. I'm like, you girls, like, I never get compliments. Why? Inflate your ego? I'm like, I do not have an ego. They're like,
Hopefully, Tarsiers.
I was like, you're joking me, right? They're like,
That's so. Taking aim. Ready to fire. Taking aim.
all right. Thank God for the bear.
right to us. L'Oreal, you have to save.
Poor Sweet. Barely started and already dead.
In Persine's name!
Lest the ship sink.
Stay still, won't you?
Okay. It's gonna be very...
Perhaps next time Lord Hercine will give us foes
Lord
worth bragging
Hercine shall
about.
be pleased by our victory.
It's always disappointing when the prey barely fights back.
So easily.
What the fuck?
Nothing against a bear is nothing
Oh my god.
against time Lord Hercine will give us foes worth bragging about.
I'm gonna have to keep it over here.
I'm ready to fire.
I'm trying to keep this one out of their way so they can kill the healer first.
The spirit of the stag lives on. I've got the target in sight.
Stay strong, sisters. My spirit is with you.
It worked.
So we have become the prey.
Okay.
How pathetic.
Watch out!
Hanu, why have you come here?
Is that you, Father?
Must leave now, before you two are trapped within these cursed hunting grounds.
Come on, man. What the fuck, yo? Okay, I guess we're going the wrong way. No. What the fuck? I don't know. This place gets me lost. Okay, right here. Yeah, I guess we are. And I'm colorblind. So, me being in this map sucks nuts. Alright. hate when I'm learning something like location map on a new. Look, being a healer, I just gotta follow.
Perhaps I can be of help. This will help you.
I want to leave. Please let me leave.
Leave me, little sprig.
Why are we hunted? Leave us alone. We just want to.
Hunters, to your positions! Troll's blood. It has to be here somewhere. Keep an eye out.
Okay.
My kind.
Don't you see? You're the hare now, Hunter. Fire and ash. I'll burn you all. We were fools to try to hunt it, and so are you.
I must defeat you and keep chasing it. I cannot rest. I must defeat you, demand your death. I must obey. Why did you keep chasing it?
We were fools to try to hunt it, and so
Why did
are
you
you.
keep chasing it?
That creature you're chasing looks mighty useful. Want to give your old pal Baylorg a turn with it?
What? Team up with you? Just so you can shove a dagger in my back?
Ha! Don't you know? It's hunter be hunted within the March of Sacrifices.
We've got company! Weapons at the ready!
Alright.
Get in position, hunters! The prey is upon us! When will it ever stop?
Where's that stupid? Okay.
Something's watching us. I can feel it. Quickly, crouch down. We need to stay hidden until we can draw the beast out.
Stay low! The fog will hide you while our whisper.
The graphics are so cool. shit.
Stay hidden until our wisp can pull the Indrik out of hiding. Keep your head down and let the fog cover you. Don't give away your location. Remain hidden.
Oh gosh. Come here, you bastard.
We must use stealth while our wisp searches for the Indrik.
It's not my fault. I hit stealth.
You'll give our wisp a little nudge. Oh, there it is! Quickly, attack! Crouch within the fog until the Indrik is discovered.
Bullshit.
Stay crouched and focus on tracking.
Thank God I can see white. Or blue in this case, I think.
Finally, we've found the beast.
Where reindeer fall.
This is it.
Here comes good old Mystic Claus.
With this, my father's freedom is assured. Come on. We still have to deliver
Come
the
on,
heart
man.
to
Yeah,
Hearthstone.
yeah. I need the heart. Oh. Oh.
Did you really think
For the glory of Moon Hunter!
Alright.
How dare you strike against the Moon Hunter pack!
What do you mean? I've brought you the heart. Yes, but you are not the one to hunt my hair. Why should I grudge your fate? Fine. I'll hunt down the ones who killed that beast in the first place. Intriguing. Very well. Bring me their hearts, and the boon is yours.
The Moon Hunter Pack will crush you all!
So kind of you to pay me a visit. Saves me the trouble of hunting you down. Time to rip off those horns! I'll tear you to shreds! For your enemy. Feel my claws!
Over here.
No! No! Lure your adversary to my trap!
Come on. Over.
Dare you use such petty tricks? I'm creating a trap for your foe. Hang in there. Hold for another moment. I'm going to set a trap. Your feeble tricks won't stop me. Trap for your enemy. I'll shred you to pieces.
What the fuck?
I'll tear you to shreds. My trap is ready. Lead your foe to it. You think you can trap me? Quite the thrilling hunt. My boon is yours, child of Azura. What do you seek?
Freedom for myself and my
It's not
father.
bad.
Release us, so we may join
Kinda
our
an interesting
ancestors
set.
in death.
I hear two requests, child, not one. You must choose. A heart for a heart is only fair.
Heart for a heart is only fair.
Go ahead. You heard the... No.
Save your father.
You don't deserve this.
Alright.
I don't know if I can do that.
I'm gonna check out the stuff. I do want to thank you guys though all of the time. Thank you for the ones who continue to support me. Thank you for the ones who deal with me. Thank you for the ones who believe in the message that we've always had here. Any class can play any role. And for the ones who doubt me, here's my question. Look it up. It's okay to question me. I'm not saying don't question me. What I'm trying to tell you is look it up. Look up in different values. Look up diminishing returns. Right? Because when it comes back down to that, it's not about me being right. It's about what? The facts. It's about the facts. Right? I still to this day remember fighting tooth and nail with the community who thought there was no diminishing returns in a percentage-based game. I'm like, that's not how that math ever, that anytime you have invested percentage-based math, there is always diminishing returns. Always. Always. And then the ZeniMax like, yes, there's diminishing returns. Duh. And then the community got quiet. When I proved willpower over trial sets at one time, remember that? The community went quiet. When I debugged twice board star, the community went quiet. When I've done it time and time and time again, I have silenced the critics because every person has criticized me and has, poked at me. But guess what? I'm not the bully. I'm not the one. They were. They were the ones. I just refuse to be ignorant. Okay? So I think the ones who continue to support me and follow me, because guess what? They saw, when they tested it for themselves, they saw the light. They saw it. I always say, test it for yourself. Check it out for yourself. I'll show you guys, but check it out for yourself. Proof is in the pudding. And at the end of the day, I have contributed to the progression of this game. Whether the community hates me or not, majority of them, they can't denounce what I've done. Because your favorite content creators, not my subs, but to my skeptics, your favorite content creator has led you down a wrong path a time or two. And that's a fact, Jack. As always, I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. Thank you guys. Thank you to my subs. And have a nice day.